All right, good evening, good afternoon. This special city council meeting, 5 p.m. Tuesday, January 3rd. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that the press and public were duly notified of the meeting. Freedom of Information Act. Nicole, you want to roll call us?
Sure. Councilmember Goshen? Here. Councilmember Hahn?
Here.
Councilmember Myers?
Here.
Councilmember Ward?
Hi.
Councilmember Streetman?
Here.
Councilmember Popson?
Here.
Councilmember Anderson?
Here.
Councilmember Pierce?
Here.
Mayor Pounds?
Here.
You have a quorum?
Thank you. First item is citizens' comments.
No, sir, we have none.
No, nobody signed up? Very good, thank you. Next item is under our purpose is mayor's remarks. Just had a few, before we started with the business of 2023, wanted to make a few remarks, and then we'll touch on some of the highlights of 2022 with some of the information our staff. Good. So I want to address council and then our residents, but first I'd certainly like to wish you is happy and healthy for you and your families. I'm really proud of how each council member has filled the role that they were elected to do. It's only been a year, believe it or not. And as a reminder, last January, we swore in 4 new council members that had never held a political office. We've tackled numerous contentious issues, and each member has done what they thought was right for the constituents they were elected to serve. With each member bringing a diverse background to the table, it has made us better and allowed for good dialogue and discussions to get to a decision. We've all been the target of social media bullying, and I've seen you support each other and me on several occasions when things got out of hand. I'm proud of how we have focused on the residents, which is what we said we would do. We've done this by creating multiple venues for our residents to provide their opinions and suggestions. We had an open forum with a new Marina operator. We had 3 listening sessions focused on short-term rentals. We had a public hearing at the rec center for the 5 ordinances dealing with the future Wild Dunes development. I want to thank each council member for keeping kindness and empathy at the forefront of everything we do. Given that we've all been around a few years, we know people got stuff. We have no idea what each other may be going through or dealing with, so as we approach the new year, let's continue to start with the default assumption that we all have obstacles in our lives we are dealing with and approach each other with compassion. Let's continue to find common ground and build each other up. To our residents, thank you for attending the sessions and providing input and suggestions and for your continued engagement in making our island better. Your attendance and emails and other communications with council are critical as we try to make sure our decisions are focused on what you want and not how we may personally want things to turn out. Many of you, about 160, have attended the coffees that we've scheduled throughout the year or dropped in during office hours and shared your thoughts. Thank you for doing that. I would also ask you to continue to focus on finding our common ground and building each other up. Your council are your neighbors and friends trying to do their best in essentially what's a volunteer role. There is no playbook for how to be a good mayor or council member, so for all of us, patience is key. I've been so pleased to see that no matter our differences in values or opinions, we all want what's best for us. We love it, we want to protect it, and we are in a position to do that. We might disagree on an approach or a strategy to get there, but we have time and time again had meaningful and respectful discussions when it comes to issues facing us on the island. We will continue to create public hearings and other opportunities like office hours, coffees, one-on-one meetings for residents to weigh in on an issue or project or to just chat. I hope you will take the opportunity to get to know your elected officials as we all try to determine what's best for our piece of paradise. I think perspective is so important, generally in life and especially when dealing with the issues facing our city. I have the privilege of meeting quarterly with other mayors around the state. I hear the struggles they have, like ensuring clean water for their residents, trying to entice a grocery store to their town so residents don't have to drive 45+ minutes to the closest one, trying to get a restaurant to open in their business district. It makes me grateful for the issues that we face. While things may not move as fast in municipal government as any of us would like them to, it's important we maintain perspective and keep things moving at an acceptable pace. I saw this 2023 comment recently. Everybody will be wrong about something, myself included. Stay humble, flexible, open-minded, but with a razor-sharp focus and minimize distractions and noise. Really good advice to enter the new year with. So now let's do a quick review of the accomplishments for 2022. Our staff has put together a really nice deck for us to walk through. So Desiree, if you don't mind doing that, please. Thank you all, everybody that had a hand in putting this together. Really appreciate that.
Great, happy to do. Happy New Year, everyone. Good to see you, everyone, again. I hope everybody had a good holiday and started off with a happy and joyful celebration of the new year. This time, whenever we prepare at the end of the year, we prepare an accomplishments reports. It's a time for us to reflect on what we've done all year. The year moves really quick, but it's always good to stop and really take stock of everything that we've worked on throughout the year with your support and certainly the support of staff. So I've shared with you a report that we prepare, and it's also on the website, so hopefully residents spend time reviewing it, but I just wanted to go through a few highlights. This is the first year that we've been working under the strategic direction of the strategic plan that council adopted earlier this year. So you'll see a lot of the themes throughout the report focusing on those key priorities that council identified and the community also identified as the main goals that they wanted you all to focus on and the staff to implement. So I'll go through just a few highlights. Amy, if you go to the fourth slide where it starts with the managing pressure from area population growth. That was the first priority in the strategic plan. This year, we worked with SCDOT on the comprehensive study of the connector. We saw that presentation later last month. Amy, it's not moving? Okay. It's on the website, so hopefully if you can pull it up, I know you all have it in your emails. And Amy will catch up when she figures it out. Thank you, Ames. One of the things that we worked on this year, as I was saying, was the work with the IOP connector. I understand that SCDOT is presented to the town of Mount Pleasant earlier today, so we expect a lot more progress on that front once the presentation of the alternative configurations goes to public comment. This year, the city also participated in a Know Before You Go campaign, which is a partnership between the town of Mount Pleasant, Sullivan's Island, Charleston County, and ABC News as an education campaign to highlight beach rules and try to get as much beach-related information to our visitors so that they can better plan their trips to the beach. We continue to work with the COG in Mount Pleasant on the seasonal operation of the beach shuttle. I think that City Council will have an opportunity later in a couple months to evaluate whether or not to continue to support this program. This is the second year. We're hoping that with more advertisement and maybe a reconfiguration of the routes potentially will yield more use of that service. This year, City Council recently adopted zoning amendments that meant to, with the goal of preserving public and private recreation facilities and to cap the density in the Waldoons PRD. And also earlier this year, the city, at a request of the city, SCDOT ultimately implemented a reduction of the speed limit at 25 to 25 miles an hour. This was an initiative that started in the Public Safety Committee over a year ago. The second strategic priority that City Council identified related to communications. This is certainly something that the city has still a lot of work to do, and there's a lot of potential here. We recently created a position that will focus only on public relations and tourism coordinator. This will be shared with the CVB, and we're expected to fill that earlier this year. We had a lot of interest, and we have applicants lined up for interviews in the next few weeks. So I'm excited about that. We continued our quarterly meetings with our local business owners to facilitate communication, make sure they're plugged in and they know what's happening and whatever policies or projects that may be impacting them, that they know that from us and they have an ability to plan ahead. This year, we also installed a new AV system in council chambers. That's something that we've been planning for. We're still fixing some, maybe challenges that we're having along the way with the new system, but I think we've made a huge progress from where we were. So we're excited about that. The fire department this year also created a social media presence, which I think has been proven really helpful to kind of highlight a lot of the work that they do and get them closer to the community and get to know the community better. Financial sustainability, that was the third strategic priority that identified in the strategic plan. This was a really positive year. We ended the year Fiscal year 22 with over $30 million in cash reserves, maintained the highest credit rating possible, and received a clean opinion from the auditors. We had that presentation later last month. Here you can see, when you go to the actual PDF, you can zoom in and you can see our the breakdown of expenditures and revenues and compare them to last year. Another priority from the strategic plan was for the City Council to address the impact of short-term rentals on our residents' quality of life. And this year, the city staff facilitated a pretty thorough review from the Planning Commission that yielded some recommendations that you're going to be reviewing and discussing, I know, in a few upcoming meetings. Related to that, the city facilitated some listening sessions to receive community feedback on some of the short-term rental related regulations and policies, created an additional livability officer position in the police department, and we've initiated a work of revising our noise ordinance to better address some of the enforcement challenges that we're having with short-term rentals, but I think livability in general. The environmental protection efforts was also a policy priority identified, and this was the first full year of the Environmental Advisory Committee that was formed by council a few years ago. They're really busy, they're very productive, they're a great group, they're very engaged, and a lot of the initiatives and the work that they've done together as volunteers have yielded really good results that we're seeing across in our community. A glass recycling program was implemented a couple of months ago. It's been very popular within the community. We've been able to do that with the help of Harris Teeter and Marina tenants. One of their initiatives was to install some signage at our beach access paths, highlighting some of the rules relating turtles when it comes to lights and trash, and making sure people protect their turtle nests when they're nesting. Another initiative is conducting water quality testing with the help and the advice of Charleston Waterkeepers. And this year, the city also partnered with the IOP Beach Cleanup Crew, which is a local group that meets weekly to help clean up the beach. And we worked with them on the installation of a fill-a-bag bucket station to encourage folks to, when they come visit the beach, grab a bucket, pick up trash, document it, and bring it back. And also the initiative No Toys Left Behind, which is also, they're both located next to the public restrooms in that new seating area that was done a few years ago. So those are really great initiatives. I think that the community has reacted very well. Obviously, the beach cleanup crew is an integral part of our community now, and I think it's good for the city to continue to support those efforts. Employee retention and succession planning. This was something that was throughout the strategic plan and the wage and compensation study, which took approximately a year. We identified and recognized that was an area that the city could improve upon. And this year, we've made significant improvements in that front to make sure that we keep good employees and attract great employees as well. This year, first of the year, we implemented the wage and comp adjustments as a result of that year-long study. This year, we also adjusted the annual leave accrual rates and added the day after Christmas as an additional holiday that puts us more in line with other communities. City Council approved the implementation of a one-time COLA adjustment of $5,000 and an ongoing 2.5 that would go into effect this year. We held several events. The annual employee appreciation event, we had 19 employees that were recognized for their longevity, and Debbie Suggs received the Employee of the Year award, which was really very well deserved. We brought back the holiday party. That was something that was that the city did for many, many years, and we wanted to bring it back and create an opportunity for the volunteers who serve on boards and commissions, council members, and city employees to get together and celebrate the holiday. The police department held their annual award ceremony where several of our police officers were recognized. A local restaurant received, Locanalis received the Community Partnership Award. Two additional initiatives that I wanted to highlight is last year we hired Craig Oliveris as the new fire chief, which has been a great addition to our executive team. And also started the renovation of the fitness center at the public safety building. That has a lot of the employees excited. Community enhancements, we did a lot of work related to drainage. It's always one of the top priorities that we focus here in the city. 30th, the outfall projects at 30th and 36th have begun. You can see some of the pictures there highlighting some of those projects completed. The project at 25th Avenue, which was pretty significant and I think has improved the quality of life of folks in that area pretty dramatically. That was done this year in collaboration with SCDOT and our staff. We acquired a jet vac system so that we can do more in-house maintenance in our drainage systems, not necessarily have to rely on a contractor and their schedule. And we are very excited about the amount of work that we can do in-house with that kind of equipment. The master plan to develop a comprehensive drainage plan to identify our priorities and needs. It's completed. I think we're going to get a presentation very soon to you all with those results. Several projects at the Marina. This was their first year of having the public dock open for residents. And this year we had a couple initiatives there. The Coastal Expeditions Partnership, where we offered free itineraries for residents throughout the summer, was very, very popular. We'll have a conversation about whether to continue that and create those opportunities to have the residents use the public dock and really explore the water through that amenity. The city also offered weekly meditation classes. Anybody interested, we're starting those again in spring. We'll let you all know. We can go in there and do some meditation together. It was very, very interesting for sure. City Council executed a contract to conduct enhancements to the bulkhead. This is going to be the first piece on the public dock rehabilitation project, where we're expanding that facility and tying it so that we can create a pedestrian loop around the marina. This year, City Council also approved the assignment of the two leases, the Marina store and the operations place, to a new operator. So we have that. We have a new operator now at the Marina, and some upgrades are expected to start very soon in the Marina property. With the recreation center, we always know that it's the hub of the community hub for the island. Couple of improvements there. Replaced some playground equipment. Climbing instruction was added, and a new brick walkway. I hope everybody has seen it and has walked it. That will give us an opportunity for members to pay and have their names engraved on the bricks. We always have requests of folks that wanted to donate to the recreation center. I think this is a great opportunity to allow people to do that. Very, very similar to the brick program that we have currently at Front Beach. We're running out of space at Front Beach, so we wanted to find another place for folks to buy a brick and put their names on it. We're excited about the upcoming pickleball courts that are going to be starting work very soon this month, and the renovation to the basketball courts that's coming very soon. Other community enhancements, these are mostly related to ADA compliance. City Council had recently adopted a resolution wanting to go above and beyond just, the standard ADA requirements. And this is something that we've been working on pretty aggressively. And this year we made a lot of progress on. The new beach access, ADA compliant beach access path at 34A is under construction. Maybe you've passed through that area, have seen some of the work. It looks great. Can't wait to have that finished. That project will include the addition of 2 handicap parking spaces along Palm Boulevard next to that beach access path. We launched the beach wheelchair program. You see some folks, very happy folks that had the ability to use them this summer. We had 74 folks who used it throughout the year, so we're looking forward to expanding that program next year with more beach wheelchairs so we can facilitate that. People with physical disabilities be able to get to the beach and even to the water using these beach wheelchairs. We also applied for, received, and installed the extension of blue matting at 42nd Avenue. That's something that the city had been working on for quite some time, and allows us to get folks that need to and prefer to use the mat to go to the beach to get closer to the water and off of the dry sand, which makes it somewhat uncomfortable for folks to navigate. So we're proud of that, and hopefully we can expand that to some of the other beach access paths that we have, blue matting. We also installed this type of matting in the new ADA parking spaces along the public dock at the Marina. This is not yet done, but it's something that started, an initiative that started this year, and we'll see it installed and completed very soon, is the installation of audible pedestrian crosswalks at our intersection, which will be a good addition for folks that have visibility challenges. Emergency management was a focus that internally, a priority that internally we focused on pretty heavily this year. We participated in tabletop exercises with Charleston County Emergency Management to continue to enhance our staff's capability when it comes to responding to emergencies. We entered into multiple memorandum of understandings with various stakeholders and partners that will help our response and recovery in the event of natural disaster. The city also joined an automatic aid agreement with the fire department that have already started, and we're going to have a press release, a press conference tomorrow in North Charleston with the other agencies. Our goal is that this 12-month pilot program will help our fire department more efficiently use our resources and enhance the amount of resources that we get back when responding to fire emergencies. And this year, the police department received an award for their National Night Out that was hosted in October of 2022. So we're proud of their outreach and pulling together a really nice and very well-attended event. Here are just some stats from the police department. They responded to 10,340 calls this year, a slight reduction from 2021. And you can see here a breakdown of some of the arrests and parking citations and warrants that were issued by the police department. Fire department, they responded to 950 calls for service. 543 of them were rescue and emergency medical calls, 22 fires, and 20 missing person calls. And one thing I wanted to point out is that the fire department almost increased by 50% the amount of training hours done by our personnel, which I think it's huge improvement from last year, and will only improve our folks' capabilities, not only responding through an automatic aid agreement, but also their response in our community. So very proud of our certainly our chief. This was a result of the creation of a battalion chief position for training, dedicated for training, and we're seeing those results, which are pretty significant and something we should be proud of. Recreation department pulled and planned and executed great events this year, in addition to their athletic, cultural, and recreational activities, over 25 events. I really like that picture. That I think we can all agree there's no place like IOP, and These events are executed seamlessly and with the help of many other departments, but definitely represent our recreation staff really going above and beyond and pulling great events for our community to gather and just enjoy living here. Community partnerships, I'll just highlight a few. This year, the city supported a couple of new organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, the Lens program with grants. The city also supported the VFW, or local post, with 2 grants, one for widening and renovating their beach access path, and $30,000 to support the replacement of an elevator. The city awarded a couple of citizen awards. The newly created Spirit of the Island Award was very popular this year. 2 residents received it this year, Jim Thompson and Jeffrey Forkran, as well as the Signal 30 Award, which was given to Harold Hirschman for saving a neighbor's life. A couple of projects that we did that some of them came as a result of our conversations with the local business owners that attend our quarterly meetings. It included the creation of a new loading zone in front of the Windjammer. That was something that was highlighted by the Windjammer that was creating some traffic backup, and that was something that we were able to quickly put together and fix, and has dramatically improved the traffic flow down our commercial district. Also, the city completed the golf cart path reconfiguration project right next to Ocean Park Plaza. This was something that was really close to Councilmember Ward's
Hopes and dreams.
hopes and dreams. We were able to do that with the cooperation of those of the beach company and the commercial properties that are along that area. And I think it's been well received by people who use that golf cart path to access the commercial district. And we've started, hasn't yet been completed, but we started the construction of a new concrete compactor enclosure that's used by our commercial district, and I think will be huge in terms of functionality, aesthetics, and help with the sanitation process. And then lastly, I wanted to highlight the grants. This is really an unprecedented year for us when it comes to seeking and receiving grant funding for several projects. With the help of our lobbying firm and Representative Joe Bustos, we were able to secure an allocation of $1.5 million for a future dredging project at the Marina. Also received a $2.1 million grants from the Infrastructure Investment Program for the construction of the 41st Avenue outfall project, and that includes the extension of the piping that will allow us to enhance parking availability down 41st Avenue and the Marina. The city also received $120,000 from the Charleston County Greenbelt program to offset some of the costs of the construction of the beach access path that we talked about that's coming up at 34A. 2 grants that we prepared and submitted and still waiting on is the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant for $1.2 million for the construction and the design and the construction of a multi-use path down waterway that involves the elevation so that it could be not only improving the path but also serving as additional flood mitigation project. We should know in a few months, I believe, the result of whether or not we were successful in securing that grant. Another grant that was prepared and submitted includes the design and construction of some drainage improvement work along Ocean Boulevard and Charleston Boulevard, and that would be for a total of almost $7 million. That's something that was identified in the past as something the city really needed and should pursue pretty heavily, and I think that the engagement of a grant writer has really helped the staff prepare and pursue grant funding, and we can see some of the results there. That's all I have. I know I wanted to just say highlights, but I'm really proud of all the work we've done, and I wanted to, use that opportunity for the public to really to see what we've been working on all year and use this opportunity just to say thank you to the staff for their hard work last year.
Jan?
That was a wonderful report, and it seems like we've done a lot, but there's one thing that I'd like to hear more about, and that's what we've been doing, coordinating with South Carolina DOT and improving traffic flow with what we accomplished last year and what we expect to see this year, please. That
One of the projects that we're working on clearly is the evaluation of the IOP connector and looking at that as part of a corridor. That final report is expected this month, and that report will also include additional recommendations regarding traffic flow for our intersection and other areas around the island.
Do we have a project that is going to also look at retiming the traffic signals along the Isle of Palms connector?
Yes, ma'am. That's
As part of South Carolina DOT's work?
Yes, ma'am.
That should improve not only the flow at Rifle Range Road, but also all the way down to Highway 17?
That should be included in that report as part of
Okay.
the recommendations.
And possibly some changes in configuration and signal timing here on the island for our intersection that received some improvements last year, but this could be even more. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we should have some really good results, hopefully before, some of them before the peak season this year. Is that right?
That would be the plan.
Okay, thank you.
Jimmy?
It looks like it was about $12 million in grants received. It's a good job by the staff.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and Desiree,
I
what
think
would-
it's never been, never been that high in one year that I can remember.
We've submitted for almost over $12 million.
Right.
There's a big piece, about 8, that we still haven't been notified. We feel good about our chances, but we haven't been formally notified
Okay.
about those awards yet.
and what did our grant writing, what did we put in our budget? When it like 25,000 or something?
I
Somewhere in there.
believe you're right.
Yeah. The payback's pretty good. Is the
Yes,
thought.
I believe so.
Rusty.
ROI, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things I want to highlight here. In terms of the staff, I think the staff did a fantastic job last year. The administrative staff, department heads, and their groups all did a wonderful, wonderful job, I think. And I think this report is really, really well done, too. I just want to call out, too, I think that, some of the communication efforts that we've been doing with, to improve communications, not only with the residents, but within the community, and going forward with this public relations and tourism coordinator position, I think that's really going to pay off. Looking forward to that. Financially, had a great year. Hopefully, we can keep this kind of momentum going. Impact of STRs, we're just getting started on that. I mean, this is one of those things that really council hasn't even taken up, so there ought to be some exciting things that we deal with there. Also want to call out the Environmental Advisory Committee, and I think in large part this was due to not only Douglas being the coordinator for that most of the time, but Councilmember Bogosian being the liaison for the Environmental Protection Advisory Committee. They did some good work this past year for a newly formed committee, and I think in no small part to the people that have been chosen to be on that committee, but certainly to Councilmember Bogosian and Douglas. We give you our thanks on that too, because I think that's really paid off and will continue to. And then ADA, we've made some real strides there. We're still not where we need to be, but hopefully we can continue our efforts there to be over and above not only ADA compliant, but be sort of a standard and a model for communities in this area here. So job well done. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Desiree and staff, for putting that together and then for obviously a year's worth of a whole lot of work. You don't get to see things start and finish in a year a lot of times, but it's a trend for sure. Next item is announcement of appointments to new standing committees for 2023. Administration, John Bogosian, Scott Pierce, Rusty Streetman. Public Safety, Jan Anderson, Blair Hahn, and Jimmy Ward. Public Services and Facilities, Katie Myers, Rusty Streetman, and Kevin Popson. Announcement of appointment to CARTA Board of Directors, Jimmy Ward. Announcement of appointment to Charleston Visitors Bureau Board of Directors, Rusty Streetman. Announcement of appointment to the Charleston Berkeley Dorchester Council of Governments, Jan Anderson. Announcement of appointment to the Environmental Advisory Committee, John Bogosian. Announcement of appointment to City Attorney, Mac McQuillan from Haynesworth, Sinkler, and Boyd. Announcement of appointments to boards and commissions for the Planning Commission, David Cohen, Stephen Corney, and Sandy Stone. For ATAX, Chrissy Lorenz, Chaz Akers, Barb Bergworth, and Gloria Clark. Board of Zoning Appeals, Ted McKnight and Elizabeth Campson. Item J is consideration of second reading of ordinance 2022-15 to amend standing committees.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any motion to approve without reading, if you're okay to add that amendment?
Yes, sir.
Then the second.
Yes,
that
sir.
And the
way.
second would include that as well. Thank you.
Any discussion, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item K is consideration of approval of hiring a recruitment firm to assist in hiring a finance director. You will recall Debbie had announced her intent to leave us and retire sometime this summer, unfortunately. And to ensure we have a qualified pool of candidates, staff is recommending we leverage a recruitment firm to assist in this hiring effort. We have two proposals currently, identical fee structures. This is an unbudgeted item, but some of you will recall last year when we were preparing the fiscal '23 budget, we included an overlap of 6 months starting in early January for Debbie's replacement, but it looks like it'll probably be an April timeframe from a hire. So I think by the time we get to the end of the fiscal year, we'll be okay from a budget standpoint. Desiree, anything you want to add to that?
No, we've received recommendations from other folks who've used both companies. We're in the process of talking to former clients and people that they've helped recruit. We had some conversations this morning. We still have more today, so I don't have a full recommendation yet, but I don't want to delay this any further. I know the fee structure is the same. We can go ahead and my request is that you approve the engagement, and then we would select the firm after we've fully reviewed and vetted their references.
So the cost is 20% retained, paid a third, and a third through the process?
That's correct. And it's a 20% of the salary that's offered to the new candidate.
So the way it's stated on the agenda, don't you think it's appropriate that we take no action and just postpone this? Because it says consideration approval of hiring recruitment firm.
Correct. So you're approving the expenditure for me to be able to hire a recruitment firm, a firm. And we have presented two options for you. What I don't want to do is delay the process any further because we are, time is of the essence.
I just don't think we need a motion, that you can just go ahead and
Well, I think
interview.
I think we need to approve, let Desiree go forward. So I think we do need to approve the expenditure, and I would make a motion to approve.
Second.
Especially since it's an unbudgeted
It's
item.
it's an unbudgeted, specific unbudgeted item. However, we do have funds that will cover it. That's why I would require your approval so that I can engage.
Yeah, I think time is of the essence here, given Debbie's runway in this process. Should take a few months.
That's all.
And then we're going to need to hire and then have some overlap for training. So I think that the quicker the better, Desiree.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item F, appointment of Carrie Farrell, Director of the Recreation Department. You'll recall, we started with a large pool of applicants that got narrowed down to 3, which included 2 external candidates and 1 internal with Carrie. Department heads interviewed all 3, as did council, and Desiree is recommending we promote Carrie as Director of the Recreation Department.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Comments? Desiree, anything to add?
Yep, just very excited for her and see her leadership in the department. I think there's a lot of opportunity to engage the community in a more meaningful and intentional way so that we can ensure that the department reflects what the community wants to see. And I believe that Carrie knows the community very well. She's been with us for over 20 years. Know that she's qualified, and I think she's going to do an awesome job.
She hasn't left the room yet.
She hasn't?
And we need a motion and everything here in a minute, but, in my opinion, this process was the right way to go about the hiring process and has yielded us, the best candidate for the role. To me, it's just good business practice to kind of cast the net, if you will, and look at what's out there. And, we're fortunate enough to have somebody internally that we're all just excited about and very comfortable with moving to the next step. So Yeah, just,
Motion to approve.
Second.
I think you already had
I
a
think we
motion.
We already did.
Yeah.
Already did.
So we need a motion.
Double motions?
I think
or-
Philip had more to
Trying
say.
cover your back.
Motion to approve, motion to approve.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations. There being no further business,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all in favor say aye. Aye. Off record at 5:41. Thank you.